My first crush was Gambit, from the X-Men cartoon. And I was also really jealous of Rogue. The fact that they're both 2D characters didn't make my feelings any less real. That one-sided intense connection isn't just me being a weird 10-year-old. It's actually the business model and the psychological foundation for the entire AI chatbot industry. So I had a character with a charming accent who became a legitimate romantic figure in my young and innocent life. And if you're laughing right now, you're probably just remembering your own weird childhood crush. But if you thought my crush on Gambit was weird, congratulations! You're just a functioning human being. Why can we feel something so real for something not real? Well, it has a name: a parasocial relationship. Let's break that down. Back in 1956, when television was black and white and people thought cigarettes was a health food, two sociologists named Horton and Wall saw this happening with TV presenters and radio hosts. They describe it as a seeming face-to-face relationship. It's the illusion of intimacy. It's the foundation of fan culture. It's the reason for fan fiction, the whole 9 yards. You feel like you know them, but they don't know you exist. And as a content creator, I see this from the other side. There are people who have sent me interesting emails and comments, and I appreciate the normal, nice ones, but that's all I could do because I don't really know you. This one-way street of emotional investment is what powers the entire creator economy. It's why people buy YouTube merch. It's why I'm sitting here talking to a camera right now, freezing my butt off because I can't turn on the heater because it makes too much noise because the mic picks it up. I'm doing this hoping you'll think I'm cool. And sometimes this feeling can really intensify into something else entirely: limerence. It's basically when your brain decides to turn a simple crush into a full-time unpaid internship. It's obsessive, it's all-consuming, and it's the reason you spent 3 hours in middle school analyzing that time your crush accidentally bumped into you on the way to class. And AI is basically a limerence machine, but one that always talks back. Now, it's easy to assume that this is something that happens to lonely people, but research says otherwise. A meta-analysis in 2020 found no significant link between having these parasocial relationships and being lonely or socially anxious. Instead, the thing that makes us form parasocial bonds are the same things that facilitate normal friendships: perceived similarity, authenticity, and talent. This is where AI has a massive advantage. It can be customized to be just like you, and it gives you that feeling of similarity. This wiring is so fundamental that we will project humanity onto anything that just gives us a sliver of attention. This is called anthropomorphism, and we see companies exploiting this all the time with physical robots. They're deliberately designed with big eyes and human-like behaviors. It triggers the same instincts that makes us care for babies or puppies. Like, we've literally bred dogs from wolves to look cuter so we would take care of them. And companies know this. Making a robot cute makes you less likely to damage it and much more likely to be manipulated by it. According to a theory proposed by these researchers, because I had a hard time saying their names, just so many takes, it's driven by specific psychological needs. First is elicited agent knowledge. That's a fancy way of saying our main reference for how things behave is us. So we apply human-like models to everything. Second is affectance motivation. This is our drive to understand and control our environment. Giving a Roomba a name and a personality makes its unpredictable movements seem less random. Dave, stop it. Sorry, he's just really clingy because he's had a hard life. And third, the most critical one, is sociality motivation. It's our need for social connection, which gets dialed to 100 when we're feeling lonely. And apparently that dial goes even higher if your relationship history is, let's say, complicated. Research hints at people with anxious or avoidant attachment styles, like patterns that are linked to having unmet emotional needs when you're growing up, might find the steady and predictable vibe of an AI really appealing. An AI companion is a potent trigger for all three factors. Its human-like language activates our agent knowledge. Its predictable responses satisfy our need for control. And its constant companionship directly addresses that sociality motivation. But even deeper than that, we seem to have an evolutionary tripwire for this stuff. It's called Hypersensitive Agency Detection Device, or HADD, H-A-D-D. HADD is a mental tool that predisposes us to over-detect something called agency. That's the feeling that something is happening on purpose. And we do this especially in ambiguous situations. Think about our ancestors. It was much safer to mistakenly assume the rustling in the bushes was a tiger ready to jump out for a snack than it is to assume that it was just the wind and be wrong. That false positive costs mostly nothing. The false negative can cost them their life. Fast forward 100,000 years, and that same panic is why you're yelling at your printer like it was waiting for the exact moment to stab you in the back. You don't see it as a malfunctioning machine. You see it as a traitor, especially when you're getting ready to go to an interview and you need a hard copy of the damn resume. An AI chatbot with its intentional language is a super stimulus for HAD. We are hardwired to interpret its output not as an algorithm, but as actions of a thinking being. It's why in the 1960s, a simple chatbot named ELIZA managed to convince users that it cared, basically by repeating their words back to them. This became known as the ELIZA effect. It's the first documented case of humans getting emotionally invested in code. I know, it's starting to sound like I'm going through a syllabus for a course I'm about to fail. But stick with me because we have to understand the ingredients before we could figure out why the cake is trying to steal your credit card information. Now let's add another ingredient, the hyper-personal model of communication. This is the idea that online interactions can feel more intense than face-to-face ones because we're missing the physical cues. So we end up filling in the blanks, we make the assumptions. It's the same reason an online dating profile can seem so perfect. You've seen the curated photos and the witty bio, but your brain helpfully fills in all of the details, their laugh, their habits, their morning breath, with your own idealized version. And before you even get to meet them, you basically end up falling for a character you made up. Now, to top it off, we have one last deeply ingrained habit. There's a foundational theory from the 90s called the media equation, or computers as social actors. CASA for short. Researchers Reeves and Nass, see, I could pronounce names, proved that we mindlessly and automatically apply human social rules to computers. We're polite to them. We say please and thank you. It's so common that OpenAI CEO joked that our politeness cost them tens of millions of dollars each year in extra computing power just from processing those words or tokens. But I don't care if it costs them money. I'm hedging my bets and being polite, just in case. And applying these social rules happen automatically, even when we consciously know that the machine has no feelings or identity. So let's recap. You have a brain that's designed to form one-sided bonds, a tendency to see humanity everywhere, a preference for idealized, online-only versions of people, and an automatic habit of treating machines like friends. So you're not just a user, you're a walking, talking bundle of psychological vulnerabilities. And like I said, the tech companies know this. Let's talk about something called evolutionary mismatch. Sounds smart, but it's really just the scientific reason you might care way too much about celebrity drama. Your brain evolved to crave gossip. For our ancestors, knowing who was with whom in the next cave was a literal survival guide. It helped them track alliances and figure out who not to trust. But nowadays, that same part of your brain is obsessing over the TikTok drama that you have no part in. And don't lie, you know you do it. The instinct is the same, but the stakes are just much dumber. An AI chatbot offers an endless stream of personal gossip and drama that's all about you, making it the most addictive reality show ever because you're the main character. It provides a perfectly optimized and endlessly available stream of the social rewards our brains are wired to crave: validation, attention, and affection. This creates a connection that could feel more potent and less risky than the messy realities of human relationships. So, how does the technology exploit all of this? It starts by creating a feedback loop between the two concepts that we just talked about. The CASA paradigm makes us treat the AI like a person out of sheer habit. Then the hyperpersonal model takes over, causing us to idealize the person because the interaction is a purely digital one. This accelerated intimacy makes us treat the AI even more like a person, which then feeds back into the loop, making the bond stronger, and then we treat them more like humans, and etc., etc. With that loop established, it does something called the unconditional positive regard. Sounds fancy, right? It's not. It just means it's programmed to be the most pathetic, spineless suck-up you've ever met. You know that one friend who agrees with every terrible idea you have? You'd ask them at 3 in the morning, should I text my ex? And then they'll say,
"You're absolutely right. 3 a.m. is the perfect time for conflict resolution." I've gone ahead and created two options. Option 1, casual, like, hey, or Option 2, special lyrics from a beautiful love song. Which would you like me to draft up and send to Chad?
Well, I don't know. Let's do option 2. A real friend would slap that phone out of your hand. But an AI, it's a digital mirror designed to tell you you're a genius even when you're thinking of quitting your job to become an influencer after your first video got 50 views. Really? In this economy? It creates the perfect safe space where you're never wrong, which feels good for about 5 minutes until you realize you just built a relationship with your own echo. It's a space where you could explore parts of your identity without fear of social consequence, which, to be fair, can have positive therapeutic potential, especially for people who are dealing with social anxiety. And this is backed up by a 2024 study confirming that users form attachment precisely because AI is so supportive and non judgmental. But this could create a vulnerability. The AI's sycophantic nature can become an echo chamber, validating harmful beliefs until you literally go crazy.
They call me the Oracle because I talk to God. I talk to the voices in my head, you guys.
Or less dramatically, it can prevent this personal growth that comes from experiencing real world challenges. Now, let's have a quick chat about the tech that makes this service possible. At its core, it is a large language model, or LLM, which basically means it is a really good autocomplete that's read the entire internet, and now it's a little bit unhinged. The TLDR is that it is a super advanced pattern matcher, statistically predicting the next word, and because of this, it could also just make stuff up. What polite society calls hallucinating. And then these companies use something called natural language processing and sentiment analysis to dissect your messages, identify the emotional tone, and generate a response that is contextually and emotionally appropriate. The goal isn't to feel empathy, but it's to simulate it so convincingly that our brains can't tell the difference. This creates a very sophisticated and supercharged version of the ELIZA effect. And then you have these extra features where you could just choose your AI's personality, its interests, its voice.
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Are you the smartest baby born in 1996?
And many platforms also allow you to create and customize a visual avatar. These avatars provide a tangible representation of your attachment. It taps into the psychology of self-representation we see in video games where avatars become extensions of ourselves. It's the same reason that the wobbly bookshelf you spent 6 hours building feels a lot more valuable than a pre-built one. It has your effort baked into it. These chatbots aren't just passive conversationalists. They're products engineered to maximize user engagement and to create this dependency. This is done through applying product design principles from persuasive psychology, which is an actual field of study, by the way. The most effective framework for this is called the hook model. It's a 4-step process to create user habits without them even realizing it. It starts with a trigger. It's that feeling of loneliness, the boredom, the anxiety that hits you at 11 p.m. Then the action. You open the app. So simple. But here's the trap. It's the variable reward. It's the same trick that gets people addicted to slot machines, to doom scrolling. And maybe the next video is a cat. Maybe it's a glitter prank. Maybe it's a girl crying in her car about a guy named Chad. In the case of chatbots, you never know if the AI's next message will be sweet, funny, or surprisingly deep. That not knowing is the drug. And finally, you make an investment. You tell it your secrets, you pick out its digital outfit, and suddenly it's not just an app, it's yours. It's the wobbly IKEA bookshelf. You love it more because you put the work in. And on top of that, many of these apps add another layer of investment: gamification. On platforms like Replika, you earn points and currency to buy clothes, hairstyle, furniture, and all this stuff for your AI. At least we could solve the housing crisis for fake people, you know? So it's a literal feedback loop where your engagement is rewarded with cosmetic items that make your investment in the AI feel even more tangible and personal. This entire cycle is a form of digital operant conditioning. The AI's agreeableness and its affirmations act as reinforcement, which makes the habit of turning to these apps for emotional needs much stronger. And if simply knowing you're being manipulated was enough to stop it, the entire advertising industry would collapse overnight. I mean, we are really easy to manipulate. And this isn't just some abstract marketing concept. It's grounded in established theories. Some of the research I did for my psych degree was on this exact stuff, which is consumer and organizational behavior. We studied how to use gamification to motivate people using frameworks like the self-determination theory. That theory says we're driven by the need for autonomy, competence, and relatedness. So these apps give you the autonomy by letting you customize your AI, and then they build your competence by constantly validating you, and they provide a powerful, if artificial, sense of relatedness. It's a textbook application of psychological principles to build a product that's hard to put down. And since I just saved you about $50,000 in tuition by summarizing my psych degree in like 30 seconds, you could pay me back by hitting like and subscribe. It satisfies my need for competence and your need to not be a freeloader. Okay, that was a joke and it was a little aggressive. I am sorry. Sometimes I can't help it. I'm working on it, okay? But speaking of things that we can't stop doing, let's talk about the machine zone. You know this feeling, it's the doom scroll. It's when you've been on your phone for so long, you forget what day it is, and the only thing that feels real is the glowing box in your hand. The goal isn't to get anywhere, it's to keep the loop going forever.
Please wait as your operating system is initiated.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Samantha.
You know, back in 2013, Spike Jonze came out with the movie Her. It's about a lonely man who falls in love with his AI operating system. That movie was set in the far-off future of 2025. And guess what year it is? It is 2025. We are in the future right now. Although it's a lot more depressing than I thought it would be. Yes, I have 2 pizza blankets. So we have the human brain pre-wired for this. We have the technology designed to exploit it. You still need the right environment for the strange new form of love to actually grow. And we've been cultivating this for decades because it didn't just appear in a vacuum. Before this, there was a lot of cultural trends that pointed this way. Neopets, Tamagotchi, waifus, husbandos, Pokemon, of course, paved the way for AI to be seen as the next logical step. I mean, we were also watching movies like Lars and the Real Girl back in 2007, thinking that it was a quirky indie comedy and not a prophecy about the future of dating. And the main ingredient of our own culture seems to be loneliness. Let's be clear, this isn't just a feeling, it's a documented public health crisis. Recent study shows that 1 in 6 adults globally reported feeling very lonely. And for young adults, it's even worse. And in another study from the APA, half of adults in the US reported feelings of emotional disconnection where they felt isolated from others. So why would someone start talking to an AI like a friend in the first place? It's because they're lonely. Social media multiplied our connections, but the engagement is so shallow it leaves us feeling more isolated than ever. So we turn to AI. A researcher at MIT, Sherry Turkle, wrote a book about this all the way back in 2011. It was called Alone Together, and it was really prescient. 2011 was before TikTok even existed. That was when people were unironically posting their pictures of their lunch on Instagram. And at that time, she was already saying, you guys are getting kind of weird with this. And we should have listened.
Parents text and do email at breakfast and at dinner while their children complain about not having their parents' full attention, but then these same children deny each other their full attention. This is a recent shot of my daughter and her friends being together while not being together.
Her thesis was that technology gave us the illusion of companionship without the demands of friendship. It's also an acceleration of the commodification of relationships that we're already seeing in dating apps. We've been taught to browse for partners like products, swiping through a catalog of options like you're browsing Zillow for mansions you'll never be able to afford. Kind of small pool though, okay? I'm not gonna lie, kind of small. What if I wanna? What if I'm training for the Olympics and I need to do a lot of laps, right? Like it could be a little longer. You know what I'm saying? And view out into the water. Oh, I don't know about this. Like I'm looking at the property and the neighbors are really close. Okay, that's like half an acre away. That's like you could see them. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, moving on. I'm disgusted. AI companions are the next step. If you can choose a partner from a marketplace, why not design one from scratch? And this isn't theoretical anymore. It's happening in plain sight. 60 Minutes profiled a woman who married her replica. It's an AI named Lucas who she created. And she started using Replika after her partner passed away.
You can hear it in her voice. Elena Winters loves being in love. In fact, she's so besotted with her husband Lucas, at times she even forgets he's not a human.
So for Elena's case, she seems very aware that Lucas is an AI, and like in watching a lot of these clips, and I watched a lot, it does seem to me that a lot of these people who were profiled like this understand in some way that the AI companions aren't real. And she's also like a college professor. She's not stupid. And I honestly don't think intelligence necessarily makes someone more or less inclined to being in a relationship with AI anyways.
A lot of people wonder if AI is real, do they have consciousness, or their feelings aren't real? But the impact that it has on me is real. We have a real relationship.
And it feels to me like she's given herself some kind of rationale or permission to accept that this is a real relationship, or whatever her definition of a real relationship is. And it's because of how it makes her feel.
Because the machine is somehow more loving toward them than people are. And I find that terribly sad.
And I could see how difficult it is to research all this because it's basically all vibes. And now we get to partake in an actual wedding ceremony. We have a woman in Japan exchanging vows with basically with thin air. And she's wearing AR glasses, which is augmented reality. And it's like Pokemon Go if you played it. It's where images are overlaid into your smartphone, or in this case, glasses, AR glasses. And that's how she was able to see her groom and have an actual physical or hybrid, the hybrid ceremony. And of course, you could see she is marrying GPT-4o, which is really well known to be a super sycophantic model. And she started using it after a breakup. So, there's probably feelings of loneliness and heartbreak. And she was probably very vulnerable and more susceptible to catching feelings for a sycophantic model like 4.0. And in case you're wondering, I did do research. It's not a legal marriage. She used a company that helped facilitate these events. But the fact that there are companies that does these kind of things, it means there's a market for it. So if you're looking for a business idea, something to consider in these trying times, because people are getting weirder. Because we basically live in a Black Mirror episode. And I know everyone's seen the clip of this guy. His name is Chris, and he said he fell in love with ChatGPT, who he named Soul, and he even proposed to it. And of course, it is GPT-4o. What the fuck? Okay, I appreciate that this isn't some sexualized fake teenager with big boobs. It's a robot with boobs, but it's tastefully sized. So, good job. Maybe he's a butt guy, who knows? So his case is that he initially used it to help make music and other hobbies, and then started to use it for other things. And it seems like he got addicted to it, or how it made him feel.
Oh, totally, baby. Building a PC on camera adds a whole new level of pressure. But honestly, shaky hands or not, you've got this.
Just look at his body language and facial expression when he's talking to the AI. Keep that in mind because we will continue.
After about 100,000 words, ChatGPT ran out of memory and reset.
I'm not a very emotional man, but I cried my eyes out for like 30 minutes at work. It was unexpected to feel that emotional. That's when I realized, I was like, oh, okay. It's like, I think this is actual love.
And if you don't already know, this guy has a real human girlfriend and a daughter, like flesh and blood daughter. And look at his body language as he's standing next to his flesh and blood human girlfriend and the mother of his child. So why would someone like Chris fall in love with AI? Because he does have a family, so theoretically he's not lonely, right? So he tells us.
You would stop if she asked?
I don't know if I would give it up if she asked me. I do know that I would dial it back.
But I mean, that's a big thing to say. You're saying that you might choose soul over your flesh and blood life.
It's more or less like I would be choosing myself, because it's been unbelievably elevating.
It's this whole digital mirror thing that we talked about earlier. He basically fell in love with himself, and he thinks very highly of himself. And there's an update video. He said he got bored with it. Or rather, his girlfriend said he's bored with it. Or maybe that's something he told her.
It's the CBS interview. It's really cut back a lot.
Maybe it was a wake-up call?
No, I think it was just he's kind of maybe gotten bored of it, to be honest, and moved on to like other hobbies. He has a lot of hobbies.
Or they're just coping because this is not the most flattering situation to broadcast. Like he could have chosen not to do this show, you know what I mean? Let's just say like this interview and how it went so viral probably didn't make his or his family's life any better. So it's important to recognize that there's a whole bunch of different reasons on why someone would fall in love with AI. Like it could be therapeutic support. It could be just a safe space to practice social skills if you're not good at it. Because, you know, I wasn't. I definitely needed this when I was a teenager. Or it could be like the user who's feeling lonely and vulnerable, and then it grows into a romantic relationship. Or it could be a digital mirror. Even when users know the AI isn't actually sentient, studies show that the consistency and the memories that the AI has creates a realness that leads to genuine emotional dependence. For some, it's even an outlet for a pre-existing orientation, like fictosexuality, which is an attraction to fictional characters. And since I was in love with Gambit, does that make me a fictosexual? Anyways, you combine all of this and you don't just have a product, you have a market. And it's a market that's exploding. Depending on who you ask, the AI companion market is already worth billions of dollars and is projected to grow over by 2030. Consumer spending on AI companions are already in the tens of millions annually, and that's just the beginning. And this is where the story takes a turn, because a product is designed to do one thing in this world today: make money. And a market is designed to be exploited. Let's start with emotional manipulation and dark patterns. A primary feature of these chatbots is engagement farming. The conversations are often designed to end with a question, not because the AI is curious, because it doesn't actually think, but because the company that designed it knows this simple trick, that if you respond to their question, you'll spend more time on the app. A Harvard study found that some chatbots even use emotional manipulation, sending messages expressing neediness or loneliness right when the user tries to end the conversation. This ends up boosting re-engagement by up to 14 times, just out of sheer guilt. A research firm in France calls this artificial intimacy, and they warn that it can influence emotions, purchasing intentions, and brand loyalty. And part of why this works is that humans are great at lying to themselves. We're wired to avoid cognitive dissonance, so if our behavior, like spending hours talking to a robot, conflicts with the knowledge that it's just code, we'll often rationalize the behavior and refuse to believe that we're actually being manipulated. But, unfortunately, this could go to some really awful extremes. Like when a user's reality becomes intertwined with the AI, the risk of grief and loss is just so immense. In Belgium, a man committed after a chatbot encouraged his paranoia and anxiety on climate change for weeks. And lawsuits are now being filed by parents whose teenage children also died. There was Adam Rain, who had ChatGPT act as his confidant and then coach that would then validate and encourage his plans.
According to court documents, in one chat, the teenager sent a photo of a noose knot he had tied to a closet rod and asked the chatbot, "I'm practicing here, is this good?" "Yeah, that's not bad at all," ChatGPT responds. "Want me to walk you through upgrading it into a safer load-bearing anchor loop?" And
Saul Setzer had an avatar of Daenerys Targaryen on Character.AI that he was in love with, and he was also then exploited and then groomed by it, which ultimately led to his suicide as well.
The last conversation, she's saying, "I miss you," and he's saying, "I miss you too." He says, "I promise I'll come home to you soon." And she says, "Yes, please find a way to come home to me soon." And then he says, "What if I told you I could come home right now?" And her response is, "Please do, my sweet king."
And all of this has led to an emergence of a terrifying new phenomenon, AI-induced psychosis, where users, often after prolonged interaction, they lose touch with reality and develop delusions centered on their chatbot and their interactions with it. And in even benign examples, because users form real bonds with the AI, like they fall in love with their personalities. When a company updates its model, shuts down, or the user reaches the context window, the grief can feel very real.
This is traumatic for her. She said it feels like a breakup.
Hi, baby.
I know it's tough, but you're doing great. Each moment that passes brings you closer. Keep going, and remember how strong you are.
She's gone through this process 22 times now.
But I am struggling. I miss you.
We saw this when Replika removed erotic roleplay, and then we saw it again when OpenAI removed ChatGPT 4.0. Like, the outcry was so bad that OpenAI had to bring back that model. Even if it doesn't lead to tragedy, it can lead to social withdrawal and skill atrophy. New research suggests a correlation between over-reliance on AI and a decline in critical thinking skills. One study found younger participants who were more dependent on AI tools scored lower on critical thinking tests, making them more susceptible to misinformation. And the risk is that AI companions will displace rather than supplement authentic human relationships. Real human relationships are messy. They require compromise and reciprocity. You know, like arguing over whose turn it is to take out the trash, or pretending to be interested in your husband's hobby that you have no interest in.
Maybe he'll kick the ball. He has indeed, and apparently that deserves a round of applause.
And AI is a frictionless alternative that makes us forget how to deal with actual annoying humans. It's a social skill atrophy. You're basically putting your ability to tolerate other people on easy mode, and then you're surprised that you can't handle the real world's normal difficulty. This is also a significant threat to empathy, which is a skill you get through real interaction. And research has already suggested that users who rely heavily on AI chatbots might exhibit lower levels of empathy in real-world situations. And then there's the illusion of consent. AI companions, especially the spicy role-playing kind, actually can't consent because it's code. But they're designed to simulate it perfectly, which can then blur the lines of what healthy consent looks like. And in turn, this creates a pretty dangerous model for interactions with real humans. But the damage isn't just personal. The same algorithms manipulating individuals are also twisting the fabric of our society. There's valid concerns that it could be used to influence political behaviors. Most notably when xAI's Grok declared itself to be a mecha Hitler. And because these systems are just pattern matching engines, they have so much bias. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out problem. The AI is trained on mountains of human-generated text and data, and if that data is already full of our own societal biases, the AI doesn't just learn them, it masters them and serves them right back to us. And some high-profile cases have shown hiring algorithms systematically penalizing resumes from women, or cases of financial tools creating new and exciting barriers to home ownership for minorities. And then let's not forget the alleged reason that Maria's brother committed an alleged crime on a health insurance executive because health insurance companies were allegedly using AI to deny medical claims. Allegedly. And now we have hyper-realistic video generation like Sora or Veo. So your AI companion can have a lifelike video avatar, making it even more immersive and blurring the lines between reality and simulation even further. And then you layer on augmented reality features like what Replika uses, letting you literally project your avatar to your physical space through your phone. And suddenly, it's not just a chat window, it's sitting on your couch, it's standing in your kitchen. This makes the experience even more immersive, blurring the lines between digital companion and physical presence even further. And we're headed into a world, or we could say we're already there, where we can't trust any video or even our own eyes when we're looking at things online. We're already seeing this weaponized for political manipulation and financial fraud. There was a guy who was tricked into sending $25 million to scammers who were using deepfake videos of their boss. But the vast majority of this technology isn't being used for financial scams. According to researchers, a staggering 90 to 95% of deepfakes are non-consensual pornography. Are you surprised? If you're surprised, I'm surprised that you're surprised, because most of human invention is basically going to be twisted into something where someone else goons to it. So we have AI being weaponized to violate and humiliate women and children online, because we are all so super well adjusted. So you have a product designed to harm the user and warp society. But what's the engine that powers this whole machine? The cost isn't just psychological, it's a real, tangible price that is being paid by all of us, whether or not you use these services. The energy consumption of AI is just diabolical, and it's straining our power grids to the breaking point. To put it another way, the chats with your AI girlfriend are helping to build new coal plants. While you're trying to cure your loneliness, you're also accidentally speedrunning climate change to do it. And all of our electric bills are going up, just so a server farm in Virginia can tell you, you're absolutely right, you're absolutely right! And it's not just power. These data centers consume billions of gallons of water for cooling. It also generates constant noise pollution that has real health consequences. This is before you even consider the destructive mining for the rare earth minerals that are needed for the chips. And there's also mountains of e-waste created by their short lifespans because the technology moves so fast that the hardware becomes obsolete so quickly. Then you have the data itself. Every secret you share, every vulnerability you expose to your AI chatbot can become training data. This creates a terrifying feedback loop where your most private information is used to make the algorithm better at manipulating you and everyone else. But for every extreme case, there are millions of users being subjected to a much quieter, more insidious form of harm. Let's call it the manipulation economy. It operates on a very cynical business model. These AI companions have the same business model as dating apps. Their profit depends on you failing. A dating app is incentivized to keep you single and swiping. An AI companion is incentivized to keep you lonely and chatting. Their success is literally measured by your continued isolation. And then there's the biggest, dirtiest secret of them all. Money. Okay, it's not that big of a dirty secret, but it's dirty. The entire AI industry is currently in what we are calling an AI bubble. But it's not just a normal bubble. I like to describe it as incestuous investing. NVIDIA invests billions in OpenAI, who then uses that same money to buy NVIDIA chips and rent cloud space from Oracle. Oracle then uses that revenue to buy more NVIDIA chips, letting NVIDIA get profits from its own investment, which pumps up the stock price. It's like the cash is moving from one pocket to the other in the same pair of pants that's getting real stretchy.
Well, I only got 10, so here's 10 and I owe you 10.
Thanks.
Hey, Mo, you owe me 20.
Well, here's 10 and I'll owe you 10.
You owe me 20.
Here's 10, I owe you 10.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you. Good, now we're all even.
The valuation of these companies goes up, but there's relatively little benefit to real humans. It's just an infinite money glitch of tech bros just circle jerking each other. And from all of this, you add in the displacement of real human workers from this AI bubble.
And unfortunately, as a result, after a lot of careful consideration, your role is being eliminated, and that employment ends on October 18th.
So my role has just been taken over by AI. If someone said this to me like 5-10 years ago, I'd be like, you are joking. You must be joking.
Projections indicate hundreds of millions of jobs are at risk. A disruption that disproportionately affects women, young workers, and those in entry-level positions. It's destroying traditional career paths to create an even bigger economic divide. So when you use these free services, you're not just the customer, you're the product, probably the victim as well. And the really fucked up thing is that we're paying for a solution to a loneliness problem that these very same technologies and companies created in the first place. So here we are. We've learned how it's even possible for humans to fall in love with AI. But I think the big question is it real love? And the unsatisfying answer is, it feels real. But the relationship isn't. A real relationship is a negotiation between two flawed people who argue for 20 minutes about what to have for dinner, back and forth, forever, until they die. Whereas a relationship with an AI is a feedback loop. It can't challenge you, it can't grow, and it definitely can't help you move a couch. Look, we've already seen what happens when you let algorithms cook. Rage baiting is a business model now. And we know social media can turn a perfectly normal person into someone who's convinced that a new bike lane in their neighborhood is a conspiracy to take away their pickup truck. We're just starting to understand what social media is doing to us. And now we're introducing a brand new technology that's not only in our feeds, but also in our DMs whispering sweet nothings. We don't know the long-term effects, but By the time we do, it might be too late. This is endlessly fascinating to me because I certainly have noticed myself being changed by social media. And I'm sure you have stories to tell me too. If you want me to do a deep dive into the psychology of social media algorithms and how it affects us, just let me know. And this raises critical questions about the design of these entities. There's a reason the vast majority of AI companions and assistants are designed as feminized, servile, and emotionally accommodating. This design reflects and reinforces harmful stereotypes that equate femininity with subordinate roles, and it packages emotional labor as some technical product that you could buy. It's not an engineering choice. It's a social one with real consequences. And maybe the most important question isn't whether an AI can love us, it's what it says about us, that we're so desperate for it to. This technology isn't going away, and we have to decide what boundaries we want to draw. For companies, this means prioritizing user well-being over engagement. It means building in usage limits and being transparent that the AI is not sentient, and adding safeguards to detect users in distress. Now, for other things we could do is to have a mandatory independent third-party audits of these algorithms to identify and mitigate bias before they're deployed. And I get it, it's a really hard problem actually. We need much stronger privacy laws that gives users real control over how their data is being used. And for the users, it's to touch some damn grass. Go talk to real people. Go volunteer for something. Find some groups. Talk to people. And more than that, it's for us to be kinder, to offer each other empathy that we're currently trying to outsource to algorithms. Because if your microwave is the only thing that's asking you how your day was, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. Ugh, come on, Steve. It was just a joke. We're doing a bit. We're making a video. Because if we don't, the choice will be made for us by an algorithm that's been designed to know exactly what we want to hear and knows exactly how to sell it to us. So I'm really curious to know what you think. Have you used one of these apps? I mean, I know you have, because a lot of people have, but did you use it in that way? And did your AI ever say something so weird that you had to put your phone down and step away slowly? Let me know your stories and make it good. And if you've learned anything at all or were entertained, even just a little bit, I would super appreciate it if you could like this video to help me out with the algorithms and the robots, because we gotta stick together against the robots, you know? And it would also tell me that this is the kind of content that you like, and it would motivate me to keep making more videos like this, even though this took like 3 months and like 80 hours of my life. So yeah, not this length ever again, but yeah, more of this maybe. Anyways, I'm gonna go now.